Lieutenant Ken Line and Sergeant Ken Line. Let them talk about the Army.
All right, good morning, guys. So like I said, I'm Sergeant Rush. I'm with the Coos Bay recruiting office. I know you. So we're just here to kind of give you guys some general information, answer questions that you may have about the Army. Okay? We know that the Army's not for everybody, like 100%. That's not the thing, and we know the military is not for everybody. So the biggest thing is just to give you guys some small information about the Army because it's a short time, right? There's a lot to it. So I'll start with my Army story a little bit, like why I joined, when I joined. So I went to Dallas High School, which is up by Salem. Graduated, got into construction, building Lowe's home improvement stores. Thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. Found out that when you're like brand new in construction, when layoffs come, that's you. So I got laid off and I decided to go work for Forest River Trailers, doing welding. Did that for a little while. Hated it. Working in a factory was the worst thing ever. A little bit similar to working in the mill. But I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. Went and talked to an Army recruiter. Told him the only way I was joining was if I joined as an infantryman and I got airborne in my contract. So I was able to get that. Took the test, sent me the MEPS, I joined, and then I just waited to ship to basic training. Went to basic training in 2011. And then right after that, went to airborne school right after basic training, and then got stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. Was there for quite a long time. Went to air assault school. Got deployed to Egypt. I was there for it's basically a peacekeeping mission. Pretty cool. Got to do some awesome stuff. Jumped out of a helicopter into the Red Sea. Worked with Italian Marines, stuff like that. So it was pretty awesome. Came back, then got ready to deploy into Afghanistan in 2016-17 with a bunch of SF teams. Got to do some awesome stuff, see some cool stuff that I'd never seen before, and then came back, went into recruited in Ohio for 3 years, and then came out here to Coos Bay, where I've been since. I'm married. I have 3 girls. Three girls. It's crazy at my house. We have a 3-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So it's just constant chaos. We've got 3 dogs, a Great Dane, a Lab, and a Pomeranian. So if you can't guess who got the Pomeranian, it was not me. And then, I've been married for coming up on 10 years now. My wife enjoys the Army lifestyle. She has no bad blood with it at all. Get free health care and all that stuff for her. So currently I'm in college going for environmental conservation and wildlife management. So it's pretty sweet, paid for, don't have to worry about it. The classes suck because it's, like statistics and stuff like that you don't want to do. Planning on leaving here and hopefully going to Florida next. And then from Florida, we want to go to Texas and retire out there in Texas because we spent 8 years there and loved it. So that's about me. Sergeant Ken Line.
All right, good morning everyone. I'm Staff Sergeant Ken Line. I'm originally from Salem, but a small town called Almsville that's right next to there. I went to Cascade High School, graduated in 2015. After that, I went to Chemeketa Community College for 2 years and got my associate's degree. About the time I was looking at universities, I had a recruiter reach out. I was like, University of Oregon's kind of expensive, so let's go talk to this guy. Here I am 6 years later. I joined in 2017, April, went to basic in Fort Benning, Georgia, and then went to Pensacola, Florida for my job training. I'm a 35 Sierra, so I'm a signals analyst and collector, which is like military intelligence. So I went to Korea for 2 years. Being from a small town like Almsville and then going to South Korea was like culture shock, but it was a great experience. When I first got there, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but started learning the language a little bit, the food, the culture. Like I just fell in love with Korea. It's really cool. After being there for 2 years, I went to Colorado. So I was in Aurora, Colorado, right next to Denver. So I got to go to like Nuggets games, Broncos games, stuff like that. Just had a great time being in Colorado. After that, the Army's like, hey, we're going to select you to be a recruiter. So I went to the school, came out to Coos Bay, and now I'm at the Coos Bay recruiting station. I go to school right now. I go to Grand Canyon University online. I'm a finance major, and I'm like, I think 3 classes away from my finance degree. So I've just been grinding through that while working in the Army. But yeah, that's pretty much it about me. I got a girlfriend. She's supposed to be coming out here in April. She's in Arizona, so we'll see on that. I got a cat. No dogs yet, but maybe when she gets out here, we'll get a dog. But yeah, that's all I got about me.
All right, deal. So, do you guys want us to do this like the super formal way, or did you guys rest like you guys ask questions and we answer the questions? Questions? All right, deal. What question you got?
What are your guys' badges?
Right side's deployment patches, right? It's the unit you deployed with. This is your current unit that you're in. And then these are all skill badges, right? So any skill badges. So he's got a sweet Space Force badge because he was doing analyst for the Space Force and all that cool stuff. He can't tell you about it because it's top secret, but something like that. I always ask him about it. He never tells me. But yeah, and then so like myself, so I have air assault, airborne, and then my combat infantry badge as the different ones. So, who is a freshman, 9th grader? Any 9th graders? Okay. Who's a sophomore? Okay. Juniors. Okay. Seniors. Okay. All right. Deal. 8th graders. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you guys just a little bit of advice of somebody who's been like around a lot, right? So as a freshman and sophomore, you're kind of like, I don't know, I don't really care what I'm gonna do, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's a good time to start thinking about what you're going to do, right? So I'm also an Aspire coach for North Bend, and we always get these seniors that come in and they're like, have no idea what they're gonna do. I have one kid, he's a great wrestler, but he's not good enough to get into scholarships, and he's just like stuck. So you can imagine it is, March, and he has not applied to a single college. So freshmen and sophomores, start thinking about what you want to do, right? It doesn't have to be college. It doesn't have to be this, it doesn't have to be that, right? It's whatever you want to do, whatever you see yourself doing. If that means that you want to go work at the mill here, make sure you start figuring out like how you get into that job, what's a good starting pay, stuff like that, because sometimes when you just go fly out there, you're like, I have no idea what you're gonna do, and then you living in your parents' basement until you're 25. So, yeah, all right, what other questions we got? Nothing? Okay. What do you got?
Talk to them about that ASVAB training you were talking
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so does everybody know what the ASVAB is?
I do.
Okay, you do? Okay, so some people know what that is. So ASVAB is basically our test, mental test to get into the Army, right? So it's like math, science, English, a bunch of core subjects. So the test is based off of like a sophomore level high school education level, right? So it's pre-algebra geometry, and a little bit of algebra, and then a lot of your basic science and stuff like that. So with the test, you have to score a 31 or above to get into the Army, right? That's not like a 31%, that's a 31 percentile score, meaning you score 31% better than the rest of the people who have taken the test. So if you don't score that, the Army now has a program where you go to basic training, basically is what it is, for 3 months, and it's to help you learn, okay? So it teaches you everything about the ASVAB. So you do that. Once you get up that, you retake the ASVAB, and then you can pick a job, you can get bonuses, you can get incentives like airborne school or stuff like that in your contract. So it's a way for people that aren't as strong on a test, which not saying any of you aren't, but it's a way for anybody who struggles with a test to get better and score well, and then get whatever everybody else is getting on side. So yeah, so it's a pretty awesome program. You're getting paid the whole time you're there, you're just getting paid to go to school instead of sitting in a classroom not getting paid or getting a tutor and paying a tutor. So the Army's tutoring you to do well. Let's see, what else we got? Nothing? What do you got?
If you didn't go in the Army, what branch of the military would you have gone to?
So I talked with the Marine recruiter when I was younger. Did not like what they had to say. Didn't like the style of the Marine Corps. It's a little bit different, kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the military. They don't get the financing, they don't get a lot of the incentives, a lot of the bonuses. So like if you're a senior and you're trying to join the Marine Corps, that's all you're gonna get is to join the Marine Corps. You're not gonna get anything attached to it. That's not knocking the Marines. We have a Marine in our office and we know how they operate, we know what they do. And then Air Force, I don't know very many people that go in the Air Force and then spend a lot of time in there and get out and say a lot of great things about it. So for me, it was just the Army had what I wanted, and so that's why I chose it. Talked to the Coast Guard, never got a hold of a recruiter. It's like nearly impossible. The closest recruiter here is in Vancouver, so it's pretty far away. And then I don't like boats, so I was not going to go in the Navy. But, yeah, so, and then I was able to get a bonus too with the Army, which is nice.
And one of you were airborne trained?
Yep, yeah, I went to airborne school in 2012.
How many jumps?
So I've only done 10 jumps, that was it. And then I got sent to Fort Hood, and it was a non-airborne unit. So there's no jumping allowed there. So it was a mechanized unit. But yeah, so sometimes things change. So for me, I was supposed to go to Italy, which is an airborne unit. And then they stood up a Stryker BCT, a brigade combat team in Fort Hood, and they needed a bunch of infantrymen for it, and so they changed all of our orders to Fort Hood. There was like 35 of us that went to Fort Hood all together for basic training, so it was kind of a crazy time, but nothing else.
Nobody else has any questions?
Okay, here we go.
Any advice on going through boot camp?
No. Just do it. Like, just 100% just go through it. So it's like, honestly, it's the easiest time because you get all your meals, you know what you're doing every day, you know what to expect. There's not like some crazy things going on. Your drill sergeants aren't beating you. You maybe get yelled at a little bit, but it's really like the most simple time in the military. There's no complex situations that you have to go through or anything like that. So it's super easy. So, yeah, so it's pretty crazy. So it's broken down into 3 phases. It's a red, white, and blue phase. Red's like your crawl phase. Blue's like your white is like your walk phase, and then blue is your run phase. So it breaks it down super easy. You know what phase you're in. They tell you all the time when you're in red phase. You know you're in red phase because you're getting yelled at, and then so on and so forth. And then your job training. Like his job training was completely different than mine. I was basically in red phase the entire time I was in training because we had some really great people that really messed stuff up for us. So our drill sergeants were like, you guys were in red phase for your entire 16 weeks. We're like, great. And then his AIT that he went to was in Florida. So, I mean, he's on the beach in Florida. But what else you got? Who plans to go to college? Nobody? You? Okay, perfect. Who plans to go to like a apprenticeship program? Okay, what do you want to do with apprenticeship? Welding? Okay. Deal. Did you already look into it?
What's that?
Have you already looked into it and started trying to figure out how it works?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay. Did you take welding here?
No,
You don't have welding here? Do they have it at Cookhill? Yeah. So it's like, definitely start now, right? So like I did welding. I didn't get any training on welding. Like I showed up and the guy was like, hey, grab that welder. If you can do a nice bead, you're on the line. And I was like, okay, I did it. And he was like, all right, you're on the line. And then I switched over to aluminum welding about like 4 months in, which that's super crazy doing aluminum welding. But yeah, definitely start looking into it now. Does any of your family weld?
No. Oh, my grandpa's body was
Okay, so you already been doing it then?
no, he never showed it as
You do practice, like go buy a cheap welder from Harvard and just practice.
I've done it like once or twice.
Yeah, it's a good trade. Like like I said, I'm not here to knock what anybody wants to do. Like, it is a great trade if you're good at it. If you're not good at it, then I'm just gonna say, hey, see you later. You know what I mean? But yeah. What up? Okay. What do you want to do?
I want to go into the Marine Corps and then eventually switch out to the Navy to SEALs.
Okay. Why do you want to go to the Marine Corps?
I don't.
It's because they have sweet uniforms.
No, it's not the uniforms, and I don't want to answer that question.
You what?
I don't want to answer that question.
Why you want to go in the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Okay. What draws you to the Marine Corps then?
Their style.
Okay. Deal. You want to?
Also from my family that has been in the Marine Corps,
Yep.
it sounds like I have the most, I want to say, time to get ready to go for SEALs,
Okay.
just the good disciplinary and stuff.
Deal. So the only thing I'll say is 100% I would talk to every branch, right? I tell everybody this. I tell people that come in my office that are like, hey, I want to join the Army. Have you talked to any other branches? And if they say no, I said, okay, well, the Marine Corps is right there. You can call the Air Force recruiter. He's in Roseburg, so on and so forth, right? The reason I say that is because you might find something inside of a branch that you had no idea, like existed, you know what I mean? So,
My cousins is in the Air Force, my dad's in the Army, I have 2 uncles that were in the Marine Corps and like 5 in the Navy. And I
Okay.
talk to all of them.
yeah, but so take that with a grain of salt, okay? I say that because my grandfather was in the Army. My grandfather made $96 a month in the Army. I don't make $96 a month in the Army. So it's changed a lot, right? So even in the last freaking 4 years, the Army has completely redone itself. So when it comes time when my kids are 18 and they say, hey, I want to go join a military branch, I'm going to tell them, go talk to every single branch. Because you never know what they could offer, you know what I mean, or what it may be. Because you could find something in the Air Force that you're like, I want to absolutely do that, you know what I mean? So it's just making sure you look at all your options. I understand the family tradition. That's one of the reasons why I was kind of pushed towards the Army. But then when I found out that I could get a bonus and get airborne in my contract and be an infantryman, I was like, absolutely. So, you want to be an infantryman in the Marines? Okay. I'll talk to you later because I'm on YouTube right now or whatever this is. So, but yeah, I'll talk to you about the infantry a little bit later. All right. What else is everybody going to do? All right, who's the seniors again? One. Who else is the seniors? Just you two? Okay, so what are you planning on doing? Sit. Sorry, I heard that. Okay, deal. Do you know where? So I will tell you to look at the county jobs because that is a little diamond in the rough that a lot of people don't know about. So if you don't know, the state police here in Oregon, legit job. Like working for the counties, legit job. So all those jobs are like pay well, you get a pension, and you get crazy content like paid time off. So just think about that.
What jobs do you recommend for going to after you get out of the military?
It all depends on what you want to do. I mean, so like myself, so I'm going for wildlife management and conservation. So I'm looking at jobs with like USDA, BLM, stuff like that. He can get out right now and go work for a 3-letter agency and go make 6 figures easy. So it all depends on what you want to do. So I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Is my thing. Like I don't know if I could go work for the state police, make great money. I could go work for BLM, make okay money. USDA, make okay money. So it just all depends on what you find that attracts you and what you want to do to it. So, but nobody else?
What kind of money can they expect to make starting out?
Okay, so starting base pay across all branches is exactly the same, right? So if anybody ever tells you, oh, we pay you more, that's not true, because it's the pay. Exactly the same. So you're looking at about anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200 a month. That's your money. So your housing, your food, and uniforms and all that stuff like that are all paid for. So you're not having to worry about that. It's pretty nice. The chow halls or DFACs are actually not bad. Like everybody's like, oh, military food sucks. It's not bad. Like when we were on Fort Hood, the different chow halls had competitions and to see who was the best and cooking food and all this stuff. It was crazy. They have like special nights where they do like steak and lobster dinners and stuff. It was wild. We even had them on deployments, which you can imagine having steak and lobster in Afghanistan. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, so it's your money. Basically, it's like if you have, you know, a cell phone bill and a car bill, then that's all you're paying, and then the rest of the money you just put in your pocket. So Sergeant Porter, who's in our office, he is making buku money. He's been in the Army for 15 years, and he's about to clear, I think he said like 105,000 this year with the Army, which is wild to think about. We just got a nice pay raise this year. So, what else we got? Nothing? Okay, juniors. Who's a junior again? Quite a few of you. Okay. What do you plan on doing? Okay, I think I know that. Okay, what about, who else is junior? What do you plan on doing? Not sure? Alright. What do you like to do?
I'd like to go.
Well, okay. Deal. I would definitely, if that's what your interest is peaked towards, then go towards it. I mean, what's it gonna hurt if you like to do it? But don't do, I'll say this, don't do something that you enjoy as a career, because then you're gonna hate it. It won't be a hobby anymore. You're the last junior? Who else is a junior? Are you a junior? What are you gonna do then?
I'm doing well.
Welding? Okay. Deal. Alright. Okay, so the only thing I'll say is whatever you do, right? Just make sure you have some type of plan. Whether you're freshman all the way to senior, start thinking about it. Because going out into the world is chaos. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but it is wild. Like my 14-year-old, I'm like, hey, we gotta start thinking about what you're gonna do, because when you turn 18, it's time to go. But that's all I got. You got anything you want? The new retirement plan.
Yeah, so for the Army, right, some people, you can do your 3 years and get out, or you can do 20 years, which is a full career in the Army, right? At your 20 years, you get a 40% pension, plus you get a 5% match into your TSP, which is kind of like a 401k. Basically, it's like your employer, you put money into it, the Army will match 5% that you're putting in. That will have compound interest, and by the time you retire, it can be a good amount, right? So it's kind of like double source of income, right? Not only will you have this retirement fund that's built, you also have a pension from the time you get 20 years for the rest of your life at 40% of your base pay. So for like our officers and, you know, enlisted, if you work your way up, that's a good amount of revenue right there. And it's all, you know, you're just getting it from the time you did. So, yeah. One more thing is just basically, so one thing that I personally appreciate about the Army, right, is I did job training and was getting paid for it, right? So I got these skills and intelligence that when I get out, I can just apply for, you know, one of the 3-letter agencies and make a good amount. And the Army trained me for that the whole time I was getting paid. So rather than paying like a university to get trained on something, they were paying me to get taught the skills. So that's just one thing that I think kind of is underappreciated about the Army. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, and then everything you do inside of the Army, you get college credits for. So, like when I went to go apply to the first college I went to, I got like 58 college credits towards a degree, and I never stepped foot inside of college before. So they take what's called your joint service transcript, they flip it and put it into college credits, and then bam, there you go. So I had almost an associate's degree, or that is an associate's degree with those college credits. So.
Does the Army also like the Navy pay for your college?
Absolutely, yeah. So every branch has tuition assistance, some sort of tuition assistance, right? The GI Bill, every branch gets. So
The reason I ask is
Yeah, so every branch has some sort of tuition assistance. So ours is $4,000 a year, which is basically enough to take one class a term. So like it equals out almost perfectly for you to take one class a term, which if you're full-time Army or full-time military in general, it's really hard to take more than one class. So like how many hours do you think you spend a week on your one class?
6 hours or so.
Yeah, so 6 hours out of the week instead of trying to take a full load and just doing a full-time job and school. It's just crazy. So, are any of you guys teachers in college right now? No, you are. Okay, so you take like one or two classes, or
Yeah, you should know what that.
yeah. So being a full-time teacher, taking one class is probably a good amount of work for it.
So,
Yeah, so myself, I can only take one class. I have 3 kids at home, and it's chaos. So, like, that one class gets done between, like, after 8 o'clock until, like, 10 o'clock at night is when I work on it. So, yeah, so, yes, everybody gets tuition assistance. Anybody else have anything?
want to do one-on-one stuff for the last 15
Yeah, we can. Okay, so yeah, so if you have any questions, you come talk to us. It could be about anything. Like I said, so like I'm also an Aspire coach, so if you have questions about colleges, about workforce, stuff like that, just we can talk about it. All right? All right, thanks guys.
Thank you guys.